Not long ago, the idea of a Chinese luxury EV competing seriously with established premium brands in international markets would have been met with polite skepticism. That window has closed. Chinese manufacturers have moved fast, invested heavily, and produced vehicles that are increasingly difficult to dismiss on any meaningful criteria. The Hyptec S600 is a useful illustration of exactly how far that shift has gone. A premium electric crossover from GAC's upscale division that enters a crowded, competitive segment with genuine ambition and a product range broad enough to suggest the company understands what different buyers actually need. Hyptec operates as the premium technology arm of GAC Aeon, originally launched under the Hyper name in 2022, before the rebrand in 2024 signaled wider international intentions. The division arrived with a fairly dramatic opening statement: the SSR electric supercar, the GT sedan, and eventually the HT crossover, which attracted attention partly for its optional gull-wing rear doors and futuristic styling. The S600 is the direct evolution of that HT, and comparing the two tells you something about how the brand's priorities have matured. Where the HT leaned into spectacle, the S600 pulls back toward polish, less experimental, more resolved, and more clearly aimed at buyers in markets beyond China who respond to luxury cues they recognize rather than novelty for its own sake. The exterior changes reflect that recalibration. The front end is the most obvious departure. Smoother surfaces replace some of the sharper details of the original. Slim lighting units stretch across the fascia, and the overall impression is cleaner and more premium rather than aggressively futuristic. Flush door handles, a coupe-inspired roofline, large wheels, and muscular rear haunches maintain the visual presence and road authority that the HT established, but the proportions feel more balanced now. The gull-wing doors that generated headlines on the previous model appear to have been deprioritized in favor of a more broadly accessible package. That's a sensible commercial decision, even if it costs some drama. The redesigned rear taillights create a distinctive nighttime signature, while the aerodynamic touches integrated throughout, rear bumper, roof spoiler, body panel shaping, serve efficiency as much as aesthetics. Inside, the S600 follows the direction that premium Chinese EVs have largely converged on. Minimalist dashboard, large central infotainment screen handling most core functions, digital instrumentation, ambient lighting done with more subtlety than earlier efforts, and premium materials across the surfaces that matter. The long wheelbase is one of the S600's genuine strengths, enabling rear legroom that makes the car genuinely competitive in the executive SUV segment rather than merely adequate. Reclining rear seats, massage functions, panoramic glass, and limousine-inspired accommodation were already part of the HT's identity, and the S600 continues building on that foundation. For buyers who spend much of their time in the back seat rather than behind the wheel, this is a meaningful priority, and Hyptec has clearly understood that. The technology integration deserves some attention because it's an area where Chinese premium brands have been moving faster than their Western counterparts are always comfortable acknowledging. The S600 is expected to arrive with an extensive driver assistance suite, supported by radar, cameras, and advanced software, alongside connectivity features and over-the-air update capability that allows the car's systems to improve over time. That last point matters more than it sometimes gets credit for. A vehicle that becomes more capable after purchase changes the ownership experience in ways that traditional combustion cars simply cannot replicate. Chinese manufacturers have embraced this model aggressively, and the S600 is positioned squarely within that approach. The powertrain strategy is probably the most commercially significant decision Hyptec has made with the S600. The original HT was purely battery electric. The S600 adds extended range electric versions to the lineup, and that expansion matters considerably for the markets the company is targeting. The EREV configuration pairs electric drive with a turbocharged 1.5-liter four-cylinder, producing 158 horsepower, that functions primarily as a generator, rather than directly driving the wheels. The engine recharges the battery and extends total range, without changing the fundamental character of the driving experience, which remains electric. Drivers get the smoothness and responsiveness of EV propulsion, alongside the security of knowing that a charging station isn't a logistical necessity for every long journey. Extended range systems have gained substantial traction in China for reasons that make obvious sense. The technology addresses charging anxiety without abandoning the electric driving experience that increasingly appeals to buyers. But the EREV approach also translates well to export markets, where charging infrastructure varies enormously between regions. Southeast Asia, the Middle East, South America, markets where Hyptec is actively expanding, all have significant populations of buyers who want premium electric vehicles, but aren't yet fully confident in the charging networks available to them. Offering both pure EV and EREV configurations within one model line means the S600 can meet those buyers where they actually are, rather than where the industry hopes they'll eventually be. The pure electric versions carry forward the performance and range credentials established by the HT. Previous variants offered outputs ranging from around 180 kilowatts to 250 kilowatts depending on specification, with the faster configurations reaching 100 kilometers per hour in well under 6 seconds. Battery capacity spanned roughly 70 kilowatt hours to nearly 100 kilowatt hours, delivering range figures that position the HT favorably against established premium EV competition under Chinese testing standards. The S600 is expected to continue and extend those specifications, with fast charging capability designed to minimize downtime on long journeys, an area where Chinese manufacturers have been advancing rapidly, and where premium buyers now hold genuine expectations, rather than treating it as a bonus feature. The competitive environment the S600 enters is genuinely fierce. Tesla continues setting benchmarks that everyone else works around. BYD's premium ambitions have expanded dramatically. NIO, Li Auto, and Zeekr are all producing compelling vehicles with strong technology stories and increasingly sophisticated design. Hyptec's positioning strategy appears to center on the combination of executive rear seat comfort, flexible powertrain options, and design language that reads as premium in international contexts rather than specifically Chinese. It's a differentiated approach, though executing it consistently across multiple markets requires more than good product. It requires service infrastructure, brand recognition, and after-sales support that takes time to build. The broader trajectory of GAC's technological ambitions gives the S600 some useful context. The company has been publicly discussing investment in solid-state battery development and other next-generation electrification technologies, which suggests the S600 is understood internally as part of a longer journey rather than a destination. Hyptec is being positioned as the division that showcases where GAC's technology is heading, which creates both opportunity and obligation. The products need to substantiate the narrative, and a premium crossover with executive seating and advanced driver assistance is a reasonable vehicle for making that case. What makes the S600's emergence interesting beyond its own specifications is what it represents about the trajectory of the Chinese automotive industry overall. A decade ago, Chinese brands occupied an almost completely separate mental category for most international buyers: affordable, practical, improving, but not premium and certainly not aspirational. That categorization has been dismantled systematically by a combination of genuine engineering investment, design talent development, software capability, and willingness to iterate products rapidly in response to market feedback. The S600 isn't a glimpse of a possible future. It's a current product that competes on current terms with vehicles from manufacturers who've been building luxury cars for generations. Premium EV buyers have developed a fairly specific set of expectations at this point. Advanced software ecosystems that actually work and continue improving. Cabins that feel genuinely luxurious rather than approximately so. Design that commands attention without becoming exhausting. Range and charging performance that make long-distance travel feasible without planning anxiety. An underlying performance that justifies the price without requiring the driver to treat every journey as an occasion. The S600 is attempting to address all of those simultaneously, which is exactly what the segment demands. Whether the car succeeds commercially in international markets will depend on factors that go beyond product quality. Regulatory environments, tariff structures, consumer familiarity with the brand, and the pace of Hyptec's own retail and service network expansion all play significant roles. The Chinese domestic market gives the brand a foundation and a volume base that supports continued development. But genuine international credibility requires sustained presence and consistent execution over time, not just a strong initial product. The S600 has the right ingredients to be a significant vehicle for Hyptec. It addresses real buyer needs, it's flexible enough in its powertrain options to travel well across different markets, and it represents a maturation of the brand's design and luxury ambitions rather than a continuation of novelty-driven early positioning. Whether that's enough to shift buying decisions among premium SUV shoppers who've never previously considered a Chinese brand is the question that will actually determine its success.